to the neon lights. Let's take a ride into the grid where the future is alive. We're talking about the Web3 revolution, energy systems and a deep net evolution, yeah. It's a digital symphony, a decentralized energy in the world of connection. Oh, so South gives our destination. Web3 fascination. Get ready for the revolution. Here we go.
We are back for the 16th episode of Source Talk, the podcast where the future of energy unfolds. Source Talk is focused on Web3, Deepin, Srcful, and everything related. And the summer hasn't passed, but we are kind of in the end parts of the summer, at least in Sweden. And how are you, Joachim, today? Are you enjoying the summer with a lot of swimming in the ocean and ice cream, or?
I do, actually, but like you said, we're past midsummer now, so it's only downhill from here.
Yeah, I actually went on a family trip here for a couple of weeks, so I've been kind of offline, trying to listen in to AMAs regarding the Srcful hip in the energy, the hip in the helium community, and been trying to follow along, but also been drinking quite a few beers and eating like local traditional food going through Europe. So it's been really, really nice. But now I'm more or less back 100%. Have been developing a bit for a couple of days. It's really nice. So checking out our transition office as well. We have an office now since everybody's leaving and starting this as a full-time job. We have a small office. It's really the startup life, because we are more or less sitting in each other's lap to fit in that office. But hopefully that will sort itself out in the weeks to come as well. But yes, a lot of things happening in Srcful, as you probably know. We have raised our pre-seed, and so now we have a bit more resources to work with. That's also why we're all full-time any day now. And we are having this Source Talk just as a usual community update. Last time you, Joachim, were together with Frederick and Tobias and discussed the energy hip, the hip 128. That is, of course, a lot of focus for us right now. But at the same time, I think the discussions around that hip is beginning to slow down. There was a lot of discussions in the beginning, but now it's like there are still questions that arises, but I think we might have pushed the final version of that hip before the vote starts. We don't have a official date for the vote, but we hope the 10th of August is a good day to start the vote. And then I'm not sure if it's open for a week or 2 weeks, but hopefully we will get a result. And of course, hopefully we get a positive result. If we don't, we hopefully get feedback on what to change to be able to do another vote in the future. Or who knows, maybe the helium community decides that, okay, helium is only for wireless networks. And then maybe energy is not a good fit. Then we will just continue as on the same path as we are doing right now with Srcful. So changes a lot, but the core concept will still be the same way forward. So.
And also, speaking of feedback, actually a big shout out to the helium community, because we have gotten a lot of feedback that's actually good for us that we've changed in the hip.
Yep.
So huge shout out to them.
So what is coming up? We will probably discuss the hip here in a few minutes, but first let's just do a flyover about upcoming events and things like that.
Yeah, so let's start with events. We actually Srcful is actually represented by our CEO tomorrow, I believe, 1st of August, at Blockstart Scotland, which is a Deepin event. And our CEO actually attended that event last year as well. Or was it this year even?
Yeah, he has. I think it's the Solana Super Team that is kind of like, at least to an extent, accommodating this. And it's not a DeepIn event. I would say it's a broader event. It's a blockchain event, maybe a bit focused on Solana. But DeepIn it's DeFi, and it's a lot of sectors that gets involved. I think it's a pretty big conference, and Fredrik will speak about DeepIn, energy sector, and probably about Helium as well, since that's the original DeepIn project, or at least considered the original DeepIn project.
We actually had a lot of questions about this last time he went, about if the material is like recorded and released afterwards, and I believe it is, so we'll obviously share that whenever we get our hands on it.
Yeah. Don't think it's live broadcasted, at least.
No, I don't think so either.
So, yeah. And then Fredrik will be back in Sweden, but not for long, because he and Victor will head over to New York for the DeepIn Summit on Saturday, the 10th of August. That is hosted by EV3. I'm not really sure actually about the DeepIn Summit, if it's something you can register or you need to be invited. I'm actually not sure. So, but if you're on the DeepIn Summit in New York, August 10th, hook up with Fredrik and Victor. And speaking about Victor is someone that you probably haven't seen. I don't think he's been in the podcast. He's been like kind of in the background. But in a few weeks, you will probably start seeing more about Victor. He's like the one that really knows the energy sector. So,
and also the same with this event. Whenever we get our hands on the material, we will share it on both Discord and Twitter. And hopefully Fredrik will partake in some kind of panel discussion. I mean, he's really good at nesting himself into one of those. So.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he has speaker time at that event, but it's more, I think, about contacts and mingle and meeting people in that event.
So I believe we actually mentioned this in the previous podcast with Fredrik and Tobias, but firmware 0.13.0 is coming up, which I believe is next Friday. And the main focus is hooking up multiple distributed energy resources to one gateway. So basically several inverters or possibly batteries as well. Might not be like fully implemented by the time of the release, but that's the main focus right now.
Yeah, I know a few that will be really interested in that, so good to know.
And also speaking of gateways, and I always say this, but the stock status of our Solaris batch. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah. So we get a lot of questions since it's sold out. It's basically not sold out per se. It's more like we have stopped that batch from getting more registrations, and this is a beta batch, and I mean, as of right now, we have, I think it's like 60 or 70 gateways that are shipped to different locations, and we are onboarding those, and we are trying to reach as different inverters as possible to just be able to onboard as a diverse fleet as possible, basically. However, if the energy HIP is going through and we become part of the Helium community with a subnetwork, then a really big milestone for that is to be able to dual mine on IoT hotspots that are already out there. They are, if you look at them, they are looking the same. It's the Rock hotspot miner. However, it also has a LoRaWAN concentrator, so it can mine IoT tokens, giving coverage for the IoT network, the LoRaWAN network. We are beginning, or we have been for a while, experimenting with the dual mining feature, being able to install a new firmware on those hotspots so that they are both on the IoT network and the energy network at the same time. And that will probably be the next beta phase for us, to be able to onboard dual mining and experiment with that, because that will be really important to have that working when we launch the network. So that's why it's out of stock. However, shouldn't the energy network vote be, or HIP be voted in our favor, then we might open up the beta batch once again and start working on that track. But as of right now, we don't want to sell too many of the energy only miners. So we would like more to be dual miners, because we think there is a lot of value in knowing that on a location with an energy gateway, we also have LoRaWAN connectivity. I mean, if you're in the big cities and on really dense areas, there are probably helium coverage for IoT. However, out on the countryside, more rural areas, there often aren't. And by selling dual mining equipment, we actually know that there is helium coverage there. And that becomes important in the next step, where you might need to have like a stick or something in your energy meter, and that stick needs to communicate in some way. Of course, you can do that by Wi-Fi. However, those of you who have tried know that, at least in Sweden, many energy meters are in like metal casing lockers, and the Wi-Fi signal is really bad at slipping through there. However, LoRaWAN does a better job with that. So being able to have LoRaWAN coverage on site is a big deal, and that's why we're really keen on getting the dual mining up and running.
And obviously, like most of the PV installations are in like more rural areas, not like the countryside, but in like where you have like villas and houses and things like that.
Yeah.
So that would be really great actually for the helium network as well, because we would actually expand it a lot with our audience.
Exactly.
And maybe we can touch on this quickly, but there are other helium miners as well. We've basically singled in on the rack helium miner version 2.
Yep.
There are Bobcats and things like that.
Basically, I mean, it's up to the firmware maker to, if it's in the interest, if it's in the interest of the community to have a certain hotspot being able to dual mine energy in the future, it's up to the hotspot makers to implement our firmware in their firmware. We are kind of working together with ROC, because we need to start somewhere, and we have a really good relationship with ROC, so we are working together with them for the dual mining. But later on, other manufacturers might use our firmware as well. It's open source, so I mean, it's just a matter of doing. And I mean, the community can do it as well. So there are many possibilities there.
So, main focus of this podcast, DevNet.
Yeah.
What is that?
So we probably live by what's it called? I'm thinking about like ship fast, fail fast. Like just do things and try to experiment, and if it doesn't work, take a step back and try something else, instead of just like sitting and with a pen and paper and doing the ultimate solution right away, because that never works out. So we might have been a bit too fast in launching a token on the mainnet. We didn't think of it as a token. We thought of it more like a beta token point or something like that. And we thought, well, why not have it on mainnet as well? However, it would probably have been better to launch this on DevNet. And what is it? So in reality, there are there are several networks in Solana. You have the mainnet, you have the devnet, and there is also a testnet that maybe is used more for the development of the network itself. But there is the mainnet and devnet. And mainnet, still in beta, is like, this is the official blockchain. This is where the truth is. This is where you pay for doing a transaction. You pay a little. So every time we make a payout for source beta tokens, we also pay a little fee, a transaction fee. It's on Solana really low. On other networks, you might have heard they can be pretty expensive. I mean, during peak hours, you can pay hundreds of or at least tens of dollars for just making a transfer on other chains. But on Solana, it's really cheap. So we have done this on mainnet just because the cost is basically zero. But when we are now in the phase of starting to develop contracts, to develop automatizations, to integrate this in our Explorer and things like that, so that you get a reward based on your production. We need to experiment a lot, and we can do that on DevNet, of course, but it is in our best interest since we are in a beta phase. It's better for us to take a step back, have the token on DevNet so we can do all this testing on DevNet, and if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. It's also like on DevNet, you don't trade with real money if someone sets up a liquidity pool and things like that. So basically what we have done is that we have made payouts on DevNet. So actually, if you in your, I think most users or most hosts use the Phantom wallet. So if you go into settings in your Phantom wallet and click development tools, and there is a flip button that says testnet, I think. I don't know why it says testnet actually, but it does. Let's see, developer settings, testnet mode, it says. So if you just flick that button to testnet mode, then you can go back to your wallet and you will see like this yellow sign in the top saying, oops, you are currently in testnet mode. But then you should be able to see those tokens there. So we did that yesterday, so hopefully they are there now. This also means that the next payout we will do will be on the testnet only. There will be no, or devnet, there will be no mainnet tokens from now on. We also have, of course, an offline like a spreadsheet of all transactions, so we can always and it's in the database as well over the production. So this is like, we can always recreate this later on. But as of right now, we will start continuing with a testnet. After the HIP vote, we will know if we are proceeding with Helium, hopefully, and I think we will. Then we will start the process of converting those DevNet tokens to mainnet energy in the months to come, and we don't know yet when we will launch the energy subnetwork, but when we will, there will be a possibility to convert those DevNet tokens into energy tokens at I think a 1-to-1 basis, but I will not promise anything because that there are so many factors involved here, and we need to look at the total tokenomics to make that work as well.
So basically, we don't even know ourselves yet.
No, we don't.
What will happen to the source token?
Yeah, the source token, I mean, it's basically worthless. So anyway, but probably we will close the mint authority, and that is it. And I mean, the tokens that are there, they will still be there. You can choose to hide them in your wallet if you like. If you don't like to see them, you can always just hide them. But I mean, they are on the blockchain, so there is no going back. No, yeah, exactly. They will be there forever. So yeah.
And also, it could be viewed as like a memorabilia that you were like one of the first. I mean, like a commodity. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but no value in those. So zero value. Yeah. affectional
But-
value.
And we're also going to do the world's shortest instructional video on how to enable the test
Yeah.
and the DevNet.
I wonder
But-
if it should be a video or just like 3 screenshots. I think
Exactly.
it's better.
So yeah, speaking of tokens as well, the upcoming beta program for the dual miners,
Yeah,
how is that going to work?
I don't know. To be honest, do you know? Do you
I
have
know
any
that-
insight there?
Yeah, some of it, but I'm not sure about like the model for rewards during this beta program. But you will be rewarded, of course, and we'll have this form where you can sign up because we want like a lot of different inverters and batteries and things like that. But I'm not sure how many we're gonna onboard at first, but I believe it's gonna be like 10 at a time. Something like that. And yeah, you will be rewarded for this, like on top of your other rewards, I believe, as well. So I'm actually really looking forward to that because I know that we've actually gotten this to work already. So I hope it's going to be like smooth sailing for both parties, both for us and for the end users. So I don't know exactly when we'll release the form, but I'm guessing in like the upcoming weeks, 1 or 2 or 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah, and I guess you can sign up for this even if you don't. You are not in the beta program already. You can you can be totally outside the beta program and still apply. And I mean, I guess in the form we will need some kind of. I already have a rack hotspot version 2, or I don't have a rack hotspot version 2 because. There are a lot of them out there, but at least I guess for our beta testers now, there might be someone that has a ROC V2 miner, but I guess most of you don't. Some of you have our Solaris batch, and some of you even have the original
Pre-assembled.
that one. And I. What will happen to those? Will we have like an exchange program, or will we like just keep those running? Do we know that?
We believe that we will have to like exchange all of those.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly how we're going to do this, but if we decide to like end the support for those, we will send you a free new gateway.
Yeah. Exactly. So in some way we will figure something out, but we will tell you when we know more.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, interesting to know. Beta program for the dual mining is the next big thing. But I mean, those of you that have the Solaris batch or this old one, they will still continue to get rewards. However, the rewards will be there will be more people sharing the same rewards, basically. So rewards will slowly probably start to decline, but that is also the sign of tokenomic progress. Projects like this, those that were super early in, they have a head start, basically. Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who haven't, you can check our tokenomics in our documentation. Because we've changed the beta program. I believe we talked about this in like the last 2 episodes.
Yep. And remember, even though more people are joining the network, that's what we all want, because that brings value into the network. But you're still super early, so just remember that. And we have Thailand on the map. That was an exciting news this week. So
yeah, and
cool.
I believe we're going to see a lot more hexes on the map of Thailand.
Yeah,
pretty
or
soon.
maybe not, but a lot of gateways. I know they have shipped a few. So if we get everything to work, there will be more gateways in Thailand as well.
So, like wrapping this up, the most like important thing for us right now is obviously the HIP. Do you have any insights on this, like at hand right now?
No, I've probably mentioned all of them right now, but still ongoing. I think there was a pull request just a few hours ago with small changes, but I think it's pretty stable right now, and we want it to be stable for a while before the voting begins, so that everybody actually knows what they are voting for, so we don't make like last minute changes, because that would probably be bad. But I actually don't know more about that process. But if you want to vote, you need to have HNT. And I mean, you can, if you have Solana in your Phantom wallet, you can swap them in. I guess you can swap in Phantom and just swap to HNT. And then you can make sure to send them to your Helium wallet. Then you need a new app. I would recommend installing the Helium app. It could be good to do that already now, actually, because the Helium app, if the proposal is voted for, we will probably be the app where you will onboard gateways and do those things. Then we will probably have some other app for like your energy data and things like that. But for the like gateway management, that will be the Helium app, so you can already now install the Helium wallet. Doing so, you get a wallet. It's the same thing that when you install the Phantom, you get a 12 or 24 word seed. You need to save this really, really carefully. Make sure that you know where it is. Make sure that no one has access to that code. Never, ever give your seed phrase to anyone. That's like, if there is one rule in crypto, it's like never, ever compromise your seed phrase. Don't show it to anyone. Don't send it to anyone. Even if, like, I am calling you on a phone and asking you to send me your seed phrase, you don't do that, because then it's an AI clone of my voice telling you to do that. Never ever show your private code.
Same goes for the public key as well.
No, I wouldn't, because the public key you will need to share with people sometimes to be able to receive funds, for instance. Or, as in the case that I'm actually experimenting right now, is then you need to log into another app, and that app will be able to handle your gateways. Then or at least interact with your gateways. We must know which gateways are yours, and we can know that by getting your public key, and by seeing the public key, we know which gateways are yours. However, as you said, Joachim, if you share that public key with someone, that someone that gets that public key will be able to see transactions you have done, with gateways you own, things like that. And I mean, and now we're getting into more advanced stuff, but if you don't want that to happen, you can have different public key or different accounts, so you get different public keys, and then you can share one public key with someone and another public key with another one, and things like that.
Did I say public key? Because I meant the private key.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you said public key, so that was okay. The private key, the private key is derived from those 12 words or 24 words, so never share that, ever, ever, ever. It's super secret. So why did I start talk about that? I went on a rant. So the HIP, the Helium wallet. Yeah. So you can install the Helium wallet if you like, and create an account, save that 12 or 24 words seed, and start using the Helium app if you want to be familiar with that. And then you can send your funds from the Phantom wallet to the Helium wallet instead, and you can have them in your Helium wallet, and then you can stake in the Helium app to be able to vote. That's how it works. But so you stake your HNT to be able to vote. If you stake them for a really short period of time, you get like a 1-to-1. Or you don't even have to stake them, I think, or you need to. Yeah, but you get a 1-to-1 voting power. However, if you stake them for a long period of time, I think it's 4 years or something, then you get like a multiplier of 100 or something like that to your vote. So there are different ways. But if you want to participate in the vote, use the Helium app and take it from there. Basically, there is a governance tab in the app, and it's pretty good. So.
And also, speaking of the HIP, if you want to know more, there's a section in our documentation where you can catch up on what's going on.
Yep. And I guess you will link that in the description below. So take a look at that. We have a brief explanation about the HIP. We also have some like YouTube videos for you to with AMAs with Fredrik and Tobias and things like that. So if you want to watch, we are gathering everything there, and you get the links to the HIP and probably an instruction of how to vote. We will probably link to that as well from there. So you will find everything in our documentation. With that, Joachim, I would actually like to say your energy.
Your power.
See you. Bye.
Step into your light. Let's take a ride into the prayer where the future is alive. We're talking about the Web3 revolution, energy systems and a deep evolution. Yeah, it's a digital symphony, a decentralized energy in the world of connection. Oh, so stop gives our destination. Web3 fascination. Get ready for the revolution. Here we go.